All right, so looking at this past weekend, really good confidence boost with them playing Oregon State,
Yeah.
even for 35 minutes
Yeah.
too. And it seems like in the Pac-12 this year, every weekend presents a new challenge. And has the result of Sunday's game give you a little bit of a boost heading into
Oh,
this weekend?
yeah, huge confidence. I think, the thing that first of all, enormous respect for Oregon State. I mean, this is a team that is projected to be a Final Four team that, lost by a bucket at Notre Dame. And, obviously very, very good team. But when we play hard, like you saw us play, especially on the defensive end, and really communicate on the floor, and there was a great energy in Beasley, about what we were doing. And we were able to really, really take Oregon State out of their offense and out of their offensive flow. And I thought that, we did a really good job for the most part on their, they've got so many weapons, especially at the point guard, off guard, posts. But we limited a lot of touches for a lot of their guard play for 37 minutes. And it's tough, it was tough to see, we hit those threes late. But great players find a way. And she's definitely a great player, and she found a way.
And even through this cold stretch of games, new teams seem to have a few tough breaks, and a lot of them. The Oregon game stands out as kind of an outlier because your team's been competitive in almost all of them. Are you worried at all going into this 4-game road trip about another clunker happening?
It's interesting because Oregon had just come off 5 straight losses, and then they had like 5 straight wins, and all that. So what I think more than anything else, it was one, Oregon played really well. Obviously, the next 2 days later, they went over to Washington and won by double figures at least and stuff. But what it did show us is that, when we play hard, great things happen. We put ourselves in a position to win. When we don't, then we get a result like that. So it's just another lesson along the way, in the season. And it's a tough lesson, but I think it's definitely a lesson they learned very well.
Yeah, looking at Friday's matchup with the Bruins, they've got a very talented big in Monique Billings, and she's surrounded by some guards who can really stroke it from three. Does this remind you of the offensive attack you saw from Oregon at all on Friday?
You're right. I mean, they're not just those three. I mean, they have 7 or 8 kids that are McDonald All-Americans, play for their national teams, whether it's, Canada or USA. So they're a very high potent offensive team and stuff. But it's just more of the same, and I say that as in regards to the Pac-12. It's another team full of very talented All-Americans that you have to be able to honestly play straight up, because if you help on one, you double trap something on the guards, and Billings gets going. You try to help down on Billings, and then here comes another 3, from Canada or Fields or, Culver, those guys. So you just, you got to be spot on defensively. You got to take care of business, and you got to use the last few games as a reference point and say, well, this is good. We've just seen this, so let's just get better at it.
And last time your team faced the Bruins, you had a couple chances to tie or win that game at the end and rallied from a couple deficits throughout the game. Have you, in looking at the film, noticed anything that needs to change in order to play even basketball?
Yeah. We didn't, transition defense, we gave up some really easy buckets at the beginning of both halves. So that's something that we can definitely improve upon. I think that there were too many open looks early in the middle third for their guards. That's an area that we have been emphasizing, trying to improve upon. I saw good improvement this week in our defensive scheme of things. But with UCLA, you've got to be spot on those rotations on pick on ball, or they'll light you up. So those 2 things in particular, I believe, are doing a better job, and it'll be a great test for us to see if we can continue to get better this week and do it on the road down in Los Angeles. The other thing, for us is offensively, whether they're in their man-to-man or they're in their zone or whatever, if we can get more ball movement. I think that we're getting very stagnant offensively, and some of it's because everybody scouts you and they know your strengths and weaknesses, and they're playing some people for the drive, some people giving some people the shot, some people playing them for the shot and stuff. But we have to get moving better with the basketball and space the floor, and again, people movement, ball movement is very important for the offense that we want to run to have more success against their athleticism defensively.
It seemed, though, too, on Sunday against a very talented Oregon State team that switching up that lineup in hopes of getting a better start really paid some dividends there in the team's energy level. Are you thinking about employing something similar this weekend in either game?
I think it's I was proud of our kids for responding to the lineup change. Whether you were in the lineup, out of the lineup, back in, whatever, and all that. I think we'll practice today. We were off yesterday, obviously, and we'll practice again here. We'll have 3 days of practice before we play UCLA. And what happens in practice is practice dictates who's going to play, and practice will dictate through productivity. Who's going to start. For coaches, we don't really care who starts because it's more about who's going to finish the game when the game's on the line, and we've been in some really tough games. Who's going to have, the discipline to get the stop defensively and run the offense correctly down the stretch for us to pull away and win some of these close games and stuff. But, as far as your question with the lineup, we'll see. We'll see how this week goes.
And with regards to these tough games, your most recent win was against the Trojans, and you really just obliterated them in that second half with a big run to start the third quarter there. What's the key to doing that for 4 quarters this time out?
I think one is we have to find a way to have better starts. It seems like we come out and we get stops defensively and we're not converting. So we've got to do a better job of converting those early stops, those early steals, those early rebounds, and and then obviously we've got to get in the flow, move that basketball more. Get our offense up to where, I don't even think it's where it was even 4 weeks ago. So we got to get back up to speed. And I think when we do that, we're going to give our players better shots in rhythm. And when you're a shooter in rhythm, it's the basket gets pretty big, and also I think we have to do that.
All right. And last question for me, Coach. I know we ask this pretty much with every press conference, though, too. But in a cold spell, it seems like a new stretch of games presents an opportunity to break out of this funk. But given your success and positive results a month ago when you faced these two teams before, is this the best opportunity that you've seen for the team to snag a win or two and get back in the win column in conference play?
Well, I think with the exception of the one outliner that you spoke about, I think we've been in every game. And I think we definitely have our opportunities to win all the ball games that we're in. I really believe that. And it takes us believing that. 2, it takes us playing as hard as we played, like you saw on Sunday, collectively with all 14 players, and be able to get that energy going. Because when we're like that, we create. What we try to. Our goal is to create chaos, and when we're creating chaos defensively against our opponents, then it makes it really fun for us because we're getting stopped, shot clocks are going up, balls are going out of bounds, or we're getting the ball and going the other way for something easy. So I believe we can beat anybody in this league, and I think our team believes that, and it starts with believing it, and the other thing is play as hard as we played on Sunday. Good things will happen.